Hey everyone, it's Kat. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the EQ2 economy and how to make Plat in-game. Right now, the economies are going to vary some from server to server. It's going to vary a lot between the traditional live servers and the progression servers, especially think like the new TLE Caladine, which is only a couple weeks old. Basically, at this point, that server is still a blank slate. It doesn't have the 15 years of plat accumulation or inflation or plat exploits like the live servers do. And making plat is going to vary whether you're a member and you have broker access versus free to play, which are not going to have the broker available to them unless, of course, they purchase the broker credits off the marketplace. But for the most part, I'm going to focus on the live servers and assuming that you guys are members. Now, I will talk about the difference here and there a little bit. Um, but what I want you guys to do first, though, is, take a deep breath, relax, right? It's not as hard to catch up as you might think it is. So I know a lot of newer players come back and they're only making copper or gold per quest, and they look at the broker and everything costs like plat, tens of plats, hundreds of plats. Returning players come back and they get that sticker shock of, wow, things are so much more expensive than they used to be. It's not that hard to catch up. Like, I promise, I have not been playing for 5, 10, 15 years. Like, I've only been playing for 2 years, and the first 6 months that I played, I was free to play. I didn't really feel like membership was that beneficial to me until I got to max level, still till I started playing in the most current content, and that was when I became a member. So really, all the plat that I've earned, all my wealth in game has been in the last year and a half, and I'm comfortable, right? Like, if I want to buy a chrono to pay for next month's membership, if I want to buy a master spell, whatever, I can afford to do it, and it's not going to break the bank, and I'm not afraid that I'm not going to make the plat back. So it is possible to do it. It can take time, it can take effort. It just depends on how much you want to put into it, but it is doable. Okay, so first off, I want to talk about what the situation is for lower level tunes. Okay, so if you're someone that is brand new or newly back and you are in no rush to get to endgame, right? If you're just taking your time, doing the quest, seeing the zones, kind of exploring a little bit, you really don't need that much plat, right? It's not something that should really be weighing on you or making you feel like you can't play the game. You really don't need that much. The best gear, the best weapons for lower level tunes, you will get through questing. Okay, so just do those quest lines, the heritage quest, the old raid zones, the agnostic dungeons. That's where you're going to find the best stuff. It's going to be far better than anything that's going to be crafted for you. Okay, so but as a lower level tune, the stuff that you are going to want to get that is going to be crafted is stuff like food, right? Ammunition, health potions, or power potions, things like that. You want to get the crafted version of that. Um, and the best way to get that as a lower level tune, or pretty much any level, is to join a guild. Okay? So, and I know I've given this advice before, but the very, very best thing I can say for newer returning players to do is to join a good guild, right? Pick a guild that's been around a while, pick a guild that's active, talk to the people before you join. But if you get into a good guild, you'll find that pretty much everybody is a crafter, right? A lot of them are going to have multiple crafters. Some of them, probably quite a few, are going to have all 9 crafters. So anything you could ever need, anything you could ever want, you're going to find someone in the guild that is going to be more than happy to help you out. Moreover than that, one of the amenities that guilds have is they have guild depots, places where they can store items that are there free to share with their members. We have food depots, we have ammo depots, we have potion depots. So all those things that you would need as a lower level tune, as a newer player, should be provided to you from your guild, free of charge. And as you continue to progress, as you make your own crafter, then that's something that you can actually contribute back to your guild, is by helping to restock those depots so that the newer players can have the same help that you did. Okay, so lower level tunes, it's not something that you really need to worry about. But if you want to start selling stuff on the broker, you absolutely can kind of build up that stash, that little nest egg, so that when you do get to the higher levels, you have a little reserve of plat to start off with. Because higher level tunes and the newer content, you absolutely are going to need plat. So, what are ways that you can make that? And I'm going to talk about several different ways. I'm going to give you guys some ideas. It's not going to be an exhaustive list, so if you can think of other things to do, absolutely do those as well. But I just want to get you guys started. So first off uh, is that you can get 500 plat every week just by playing the game. So how do you get that plat, and what am I talking about? Um, on your daily objectives, right? Every day you log in, you see that you have these two daily objectives to complete. And if you aren't sure what they are, go to your quest journal, this little button down here, or hit J. It's going to pull up your quest journal, right? You want to go to the daily objective tabs. And this gives you a list of stuff that you're probably doing anyway every day without thinking of it. It's stuff like slay different creatures, slay different bosses, harvest, craft, get exploration XP. So stuff you do normally. But once you complete at least two of those, it's going to give you loyalty tokens. So for members, we get 2 loyalty tokens every single day for doing this. And what you do then is you need to go visit the loyalty merchant, either in Kinos or Freeport, depending whether you're good or evil aligned, and purchase once a week a small bag of platinum coins. Okay, so it costs 5 loyalty tokens, but every week you can get that small bag of plat, and it's 500 plat. And that's something you can do at any level, right? So even if you're a level 5 tune, right, this is something that you could start doing right away to kind of build up those stores, so that when you do get to higher levels, you have all this plat, in your reserves. Okay, so that is the easiest. Is 500 plat a week going to cut it for a high level tune? On a live server, probably not. So what else can you do to make plat? Probably the easiest and most profitable thing to sell on the broker is shinies or rare harvest. So those are things that you'll find just running around the zone. It probably takes a bit of time. It's going to take a bit of effort. Not all shinies are going to be worth the same. In every collection, there's always that one shiny that's really hard to find. So when you do find that, it will go for quite a bit on the broker. Same thing with harvest, right? It's the rare harvest that sell. Like normal harvest will sell, but not for very much. But the rare ones, those will sell for quite a bit on the broker. So, what can we do to increase our chances of finding shinies? If anything, what can we do to increase our chances of finding rares? So, with shinies, you best way to find shinies would be with your track harvestable ability. So, and this is something where you have to be maxed out at like your, or at least very close to being maxed out to your AAs at 350. It's an AA ability for your trade skills. You pop it up, it's got this little icon that you can put on your hotbars, looks like a little mining pick. But this lists all the harvest, and it gives you like little question marks for shinies, a little exclamation point for book pages if there are any in your zone. If you don't have track harvestable yet and you still have a ways to go on your AAs, you can actually buy a tinkered item, or if you are a tinker, you can make it yourself. The gnomish divining rod, I believe it is, but that will pull up one of these windows as well. As far as increasing your chance with rares, there are actually items like pieces of gear that you can wear that will increase your chance of getting rares from your harvest too. So you don't need to spend all day every day harvesting in order to get like a handful of rares. You actually can get quite a few in a short amount of time if you have the right gear setup, the right mount, the right familiar, and even some potions to help you. Now I'm going to give you guys a quick run through of what some of the ones I use are to increase my harvest and my rare chance, and I'll tell you guys where I got them from too. Okay, so I've already got Kat set up in her harvest outfit. So first thing I have is the Cloak of the Harvester. Now you get that from doing the quest line, A Gathering Obsession. Um, when you very first start the game, you get that email from or the mail from Leanne Algren to go to Isle of Mara and talk to her son Co. Right? The harvest quest from that is a big help. I also have Yuri's Bliss Fishing Pole, which you get from doing the Panda quest in Stoneburn Highlands. You get this overclocked automated combine harvester. This is a tinkered item, so it's something that if you're a tinkerer you can make if you have the recipe, or you can buy it off the broker. I also have the solstice earring, so this is from the Proof of Pudding quest line. I have an earring here that's a crafter's earring. This is actually a potential drop from doing one of the group crafting quests that you get from the Isle of Mara from the Far Seas traders. Um, so it won't drop every time, but they do drop gear there occasionally, and some of it does have that extra harvest skill on it. I have the Coldane Prayer Shawl, so this is from the What Lies Beneath quest in Velios. I have the Mark of the Far Seas. Now this is from doing the trade skill line in Tranquil Sea. I also have this tool belt, the Tradesman tool belt. This also gives me harvest skills, and this is you purchase this off the merchant in the Isle of Mara, the Far Seas trader. So you do have to have faction with them, but they do have all kinds of gear and equipment that can help with crafting and harvesting on that merchant. I also have the Ghee of the Ashen Artisan. This is a recipe that tailors can make. You have to be level 95, either crafting or adventuring to be able to wear this, but this helps with your harvest skills. And what you'll see here is on a lot of my clothing items actually have adornments. So starting in the Plains of Prophecy X pack is that we got these adornments that were specifically for crafting and for harvesting. So a lot of these that I have are the stuff from Pop. This is the Nail of the Harvest, but there are newer ones that you can get, the celestial versions of these two from Chaos Descending. And those are things that you can either make if you have a high level crafter, high level adorner, and have the recipes, or you can purchase them off the marketplace. So, but all this adds up, right? It's going to increase your harvest. So, but again, you can also get mounts. So right now I have the Bright Fire mount equipped, and that is from doing the Kunark Ascending trade skill line. So that's the end reward, or at least one of them, because it also has the master cloak for your trade skill ability as well. But this guy, again, all your harvest skills are boosted. I also have my familiar from doing the Plains of Prophecy trade skill line, the Gagaloo Pearwood, and this increases your chances of getting the rares. There's also a new familiar from doing the latest trade skill line in Cobalt Scar with the CD trade skill line. You have to do the CD trade skill line to qualify to do the brand new one, but it's the latest content. And there are potions too. So I've got here the Harvester Bomb. So if you've done Rafiq's line, if you've done the Shipwrecked quest line, you can make this Harvester Bomb, which increases your chance of harvest. If you purchase the Apprentice feature off of the marketplace, you can do a daily quest with those apprentices, and one of the potential rewards that it gives you is this Potion of Bountiful Harvest, which also increases your chances of getting rares. So all in all, between all these things, you can push your harvest skills. Whereas the baseline for a 110 player is 550, you can push your harvest skills like north of 900 even by doing a lot of these things. You can get your rare chance up to about 20 something percent, right? Get it into the low 20s. Like 1 out of every 5 on average harvest is going to be a rare. So if 1 out of every 5 is a rare, then you can see where you don't need to spend all day, hours and hours harvesting to get a lot of rares. You can put in a half an hour a day and actually get quite a few. Like I usually spend about a half an hour a day harvesting maybe. I just pick up the daily harvest quest and put on my harvest gear and go. And I do it for multiple tunes. So that takes a little bit longer, but really I don't spend that much time doing it, and I do get a fair amount of harvest, and I do sell the rares on the broker, and I do make plat that way, so it's worth doing. Okay, so shinies, harvest, rare harvest. What are some other things that you can sell? Um, well, there are other rare items, right? So, like any economy, it's kind of supply and demand. Is what some things that you can do are things that are easy to get, but maybe are a little rare, or maybe things that only pop up once in a while. So think about like holiday merchandise. You know, a lot of our holidays only come around once a year. Um, it's easy enough to get them, to grind tokens or coins and buy them, but think about all the people that maybe didn't play during that time period, or maybe they did but they realized later that they wanted something or they didn't buy enough of something. So it's something that you can take advantage of when the holidays are going on. Like right now we're in the middle of Bristlebane Day. So maybe buy some extra stuff and put it on the broker after Bristlebane Day's over. Think about monthly moonlight enchantments, right? Is again very easy to get those items. Uh, but if you wanted something like, and you don't currently have it, are you going to want to wait a whole month till the next time it pops up? Or are you going to go to the broker and pay the plat to get it? So things like that. The monthly carnival, the monthly city festivals. Okay? So, and each month it's a different city. So it might be 6 months until you see the city you want again. So those are all things that you could potentially go out and buy, and put on the broker, and then get plat for them. Another thing you can do is do old raid zones. So a lot of old raid zones will have uh, housing items, so rare stuff, neat stuff that maybe people want, maybe old recipes that people want. Right? And then you can always sell status items. So a lot of people will buy status items rather than just selling them to a merchant, so that people who want to level up their guilds or maybe need the guild to pay their monthly status or weekly status for the guild halls, those are things that sell on the broker too. Of course, any of the latest zones, gear drops that you don't want, you can mute them, you can salvage them. Infusions go for quite a bit on the broker right now, the celestial ones, since those make the latest adornments. But like I said, there are a lot of things you can sell, a lot of things you can get. But probably the most common thing that people do is, well, I mean, if you're going to make a crafter, you may as well sell your craftable wares on the broker. And the probably the question that you see most often is, well, which crafting profession makes the most plat? Like, which crafter should I be? I want to make plat. Um, Honestly, I don't know that there is a huge difference between the different professions. Like, I hear people say, well, do this, or do that because this is where I make the most plat. But I really think in the long run, it kind of all balances out. What you want to probably do is pick the one that is going to benefit your class the most. Um, you know, if that's making your own gear or making your own ammo, making your own spells, because pretty much everything can make plat on the broker. And I think that it, like I said, it all evens out at the end. So there are basically two classes and then carpenter, which is kind of an odd one. Um, but you can either make all your money at the beginning of the X pack, or you can make your money throughout the course of it. So, what do I mean by that? Things like tailors, armorers, sages, they all have things that they make that will be in high demand and worth a lot of plat at the beginning of the expansion. As time goes on and the expansion wears out, is more and more people are going to have that, or they've already bought it, they don't need to buy it again. Um, so over the course of the expansion, those professions will make less and less. They'll still sell things occasionally, but not as frequently, and they won't be making as much plat off of it as more people get the recipes, more crafters get leveled up and get the recipes. But you can make quite a bit of plat at the beginning of an expansion on those professions. The downside is though is that a lot of the good stuff you'll want to sell on the broker will require rares, and if you don't have the time to harvest as much as you need to, you might have to purchase some of those rares at the beginning of the X pack, which they're going to be really pricey, as well as the recipes to make the advanced recipes. So those can be kind of astronomically priced on the broker at the beginning of the X pack. So this is something that you might want to consider, and if you don't have that much plat, you might want to go for maybe one of the professions that kind of does the slow and steady sales. So those would be like provies or alchemist or woodworkers and their ammo. So those are things where you're not going to cash in hugely on any one purchase. Even people that buy a lot from you, because most of your stuff is going to be priced fairly low for the individual sales, but it's going to be pretty constant. Like, people always need to feed their tunes, they're always going to need more ammo, they're going to need more potions, so they'll keep coming back throughout the life of the X pack, right? But in the long run, I think it kind of all works out. So my advice would be to pick the one that kind of suits your class best, or maybe just something that you enjoy. I think the only kind of exception to this would be carpenters. Like, whereas most professions, it's the latest content, it's the latest recipes that are going to be the most in demand. With carpenters, they make a lot of house items, so that stuff is gonna always be in demand. It doesn't get outdated. There might be newer items that go a little bit faster just because they're novel, or they might cost a little bit more because their rares cost more in the newer zones. But you'll still sell like low level house items as a carpenter, so you can make money that way. Though I don't know that you'll make any huge purchases or any huge sales like you will in some of the other professions. So that's something that if you are a decorator and you enjoy decorating, carpenter's probably best for you. And I think that's probably what most people that really like to decorate do, is that they make carpenters. Okay, so lastly, before I end the video, I do want to talk about like the actual mechanics of selling and buying off the broker, for the newer players that maybe don't know how to do it quite yet, or maybe give you guys some ideas. Okay, so this is Kat, and she's in actually her house in Majdoul. So, and this is her sales house. And I've got my broker board up over here on the wall. So if we look at this, this is your market, right? This is your broker tab. So from here, you can browse. You can do a simple search. There is a way to do an advanced search though. So you can narrow stuff down. Say like, if I want to look for spells for Cat. So do I want to look at all spells that are always on sale for the broker for all different levels, for all different classes? Like, no, I want to narrow that down quite a bit, right? And do I want to look for journeyman or expert spells, or no, I want to look for just master. So I'll type in master as a keyword search. I'll type in class. She's a wizard, so I want master spells that are going to benefit her. So I will scroll down to wizard, and I want the latest spell, so I will go 101 and up. And I can actually save the search so that I can come back later and look for master spells for her without having to type all this in again. Okay, so instead of getting, hundreds of pages off the broker of every spell that's possible that I could buy, I'm going to get stuff that's specific to my level, my class, and what I want. So it does give me Grandmaster because Master's part of that, but for the most part, it's giving me what I'm looking for, right? Okay, so that is our browse function kind of in a nutshell. And then later I can go back and pull up my save searches if I want. Okay, so what about actually selling stuff? I have to put bags in these slots here on your sell page to be able to place items inside the bags to sell. Now, do you have to have some special bag? No, you don't have to. Any bag will work in the broker slot, so even just the regular backpacks. However, if you do want to make a sales house, if you actually want to place down crates so that people can come and visit your house and purchase items there direct from you without incurring any broker fees, you do need to buy a sales crate. And I will say the other advantage of a sales crate is they're actually larger than your traditional bag. So the largest bag that you can get in game that's player made is the reptile hide backpack, and I believe it's 48 slots. But a sales crate, the largest one, the eucalyptus one, has 76 slots available. So I can put more items into that as well as place it in my house. So I really do think it's worth getting the sales crates. And these are made by carpenters, um, and they sell them on the broker too. Now this eucalyptus sales crate, this is just the generic plain one. This is where I can place any potential item in here. They do sell very specific sales crates though that are specific to certain professions. So Kat is my tailor. She can get a eucalyptus bag stand, so all the backpacks, all the quivers that a tailor can make can go into this specific bag stand, and you'll see that instead of having 76 like the generic crate, this has 96 slots available. So, and there are other ones that you can get. There are ones that let you put furniture in them. There's a pantry one for provisioners that lets you put food and drink in it. There's a scroll crate for sages that lets you put recipes and spells in there. So you can get, like I said, you can get the special one, you can get the regular one that houses kind of everything else. Okay, so if I want to place these, so I've got the special crates because they give me more slots. But if I wanted to turn one of my homes into a sales house, how do I place this on my floor? So what I do is I right click and see it gives me the option to pick up my sales crate, place my sales crate, and I will come place it over here where I want it. Okay, so, and this is, like I said, this is Kat's house. This is her module place. And I did do the breakout so I could put down my sales area down here. And I have all my different crafters, right, and all their wares. And I've got little signs out here that say, you know, okay, this is Kat's, her cloth and leather gear because she's the tailor. I've got my Carpy over here, so I've got her furniture store. You know, I've got all my shinies, rares, holidays, miscellaneous stuff over here. So I've got everything clearly marked. And what you can do is if you come to my house is that then you can click on the crate and you can buy direct from me, right? No merchant fees. So that is something that you might want to consider doing, giving your customers the option if they want to avoid the broker fees to do that. Something that you do need to keep in mind though is if you're on the TLE server, okay, is it is going to be very difficult and time consuming for people of the opposite alignment to come to your city to buy stuff out of the sales crates. So I mean that's one of the conveniences of being on live, is travel's a lot quicker, it's a lot easier, and at 110 you can stroll into Kinos as an evil aligned player or into Freeport as a good aligned player, and you really don't have to worry about the guards. It does become an issue though on TLE. So the way around that is to publish your house. So go to the leaderboards, right? Your housing and leaderboards. And if you publish your house, okay, it puts it on one of these lists. Small, medium, large homes, devs picks, but all someone would have to do is to click on your name and your house and to visit. And then they could access your broker crates without the inconvenience of wondering if they're getting killed or not. But that also is really helpful even on live servers too, if you want to make it easy for people to get to your sales house. The other thing too that needs to be said is don't forget to pay your rent. Okay, so every once in a while, you'll see someone in Gen Chat complaining that they want to go buy something from someone's house. They want to avoid the broker fees. However, the person hasn't paid their rent, so they can't get in and they can't buy the item. Um, and sometimes this happens too. If you have to take an extended break, you aren't going to pay rent for a while, but wouldn't you like to come back to the game eventually and have Plat waiting for you in the broker? So, a couple ways that you can get around having to worry about pay rent is one, pick a prestige house. So, there are several ones that you can get as a member without having to actually spend real life money, like the Isle of Mara from doing the Panda Quest. There are a couple from the Loyalty Merchant that you can get as well. But there is another option too. So, the Loyalty Merchant sells this item right here. This is a treasure hoard. So what you'll notice is that this reduces your coin that you owe in rent 25%. Okay, and it actually does do a small status reduction as well. It doesn't work on a lot of the homes or all the homes. Think about the ones like in Freeport or Kinos that require status. The treasure hoard isn't going to be enough, but I have 4 of these in my module home, and I owe 0 coin every week and 0 status every week. So I never have to worry about paying rent because it's covered. Um, and if anyone ever wants to stop by here, they can avoid the merchant fees. Okay, so I think I've covered everything that I really wanted to talk about. But of course, lastly, the easiest, the fastest way to make Plat in game, of course, if you don't mind spending real life money, is to buy a chrono, right? Is to purchase it off either Daybreak or the EQ2 website and then to sell it on the broker for Plat. So, depending on the server, you might get hundreds of Plat. If you're on like a TLE server, you might get millions of Plat for it on a live server. But of course, you can still put your chrono in a sales crate in your sales house and sell it without any merchant fees. And if you do have a crate that is from either being a veteran or from getting the super premium X pack that you bought, some of those crates have no broker fees, and you can put those in your house, and people can purchase stuff from you off the broker elsewhere as well for no fees. But those are options, those are things that help. But it does require some real life money to do it that way. So it's not something that I've done, that I felt the need to resort to. But if it's worth your time, then absolutely do that. All right, thank you guys. I hope this helps. I will talk to you guys later.